manager, head of our operations at Shadowmatch. The Shadowmatch team, they are some of the pictures that you will see on the screen, some of the faces, and we won't have time to introduce them, but they are here. They are highly qualified and extremely competent to handle your questions. Unfortunately, guys and girls, I do not have the ability to multitask. I can't do it. I cannot do it. It frustrates everybody around me to death. And I'm open and honest to it. I cannot, for the best will in the world, multitask. I mess both these tasks up if I try to multitask. So I only have enough brain cells to do one thing at a time. My dear beloved wife can do 3 things at a time. She walks around in the kitchen, makes food, listen to a webinar, engages the webinar, talk to me, and then attend to people on the premises who must install something. I can't do it. So forgive me for that. Ask your questions in the chat box, and our team will be ready, and they will be very responsive to answer your questions. I will also just make another arrangement from my side. I have another webinar at 3 o'clock that I need to attend. So we will be done by 3. That's the promise that we make. And but if you want to stay on, the Shadowmatch team will stay on for 5 or 6 or 10 minutes if you have questions to ask, and they are as qualified as I am to answer all your questions. So what we will do today, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call a high speed and a high impact 1-hour career session. There won't be time to waste, and we will not have time to, in South Africa, for the American people who are not known with the way we say things, we won't have time to hana hana. Hana hana means there won't be time to play around and mess with sentences. We have a high speed, high impact career learning session, and we will be done by 3 o'clock. I am very strict with this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a few comments before we start with the career report itself. In the world that we are living, not having a career plan is no longer a luxury. It's a must. We must remember that the career that I have is one of the 5 most critical things that identifies and builds my identity. And it's amongst the top 5 identity building components of an individual. If you see somebody, you immediately classify the person as male or female, part 1 of the identity. The second thing that we immediately do is we have a look at the outside of the person, maybe culture, maybe religious things that we might wear. So the bodily makeup of the person is the second one. The third thing is the first thing that we ask somebody, what's your name? So my name is number 3 on my identifier frameworks. Then number 4 is, where do you live? Do you live in South Africa, in Pretoria, in Johannesburg, in Austin, in New York, in Dallas? Where do you live? And we might even want to define that further. Immediately thereafter, the next question is, what do you do for a living? Because what it says, guys and girls, is that what I do for a living is part of who I am. It's not something outside of myself. What I do for a living is part of who I am. If you go to church, if you walk in a public place, if you walk in a shopping center or a shopping mall, and the medical doctor of the community walks by, you say to your kids, oh, there's our doctor. Not there is Jan or Andre or Lucelle or whoever. There's our doctor. If you're a minister of religion, if you're an engineer, if you're a pilot, if you're a whatever it is, it forms part of your basic identity, and that is your career and the job you are doing. This is important because it tells us that being a career coach and a career counselor is actually helping people to identify their identity and their existence in this world of society and the world of business. The second thing, ladies and gentlemen, and then we will come to our career reports itself, that'll take us about 25-30 minutes, is that we live in a time in the history of our world that is obviously very new and very challenging. We live in a time of an industrial revolution. Now, if you want to make a note, make this note and Google it. The challenges of Industry 4 or 4.0 for the world of work, for careers, for medicine, for medical doctors, for engineers, for pilots, whatever it is. The world of Industry 4 and the fourth industrial revolution is a world whereby things that were done previously as a career by people are being done now by computers, by robots, by automated systems, and by mechanics, machinery. Obviously, the immediate question that we have is, but what about the job losses? The results, guys and girls, is that there won't be job losses. There will be more jobs created than what will go lost. Industry 4 will create a high number of specialized jobs, but the world of work will change. In other words, jobs will change. The way people work and the way people engage the workplace will change. There will obviously be jobs lost, but they will just disappear. Some of the jobs will just disappear, and this is why we must have a career plan, so that we are on top of this movement in the world of Industry 4, so that we can plan in advance and make sure that our plans are sustainable and that we are more proactive to changes than reactive. You must keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, currently we are in a desperate situation where people lose their jobs. For our American people that joined our session today, 10 million people are going to be out of work by the end of June in America. In South Africa, one big company closed down, and they've lost just in the alcohol and beverages industry, close to 200,000 people will lose their jobs in South Africa as a result of this pandemic. So having a career plan puts us in a very strong position. So this is the introduction. Now, what we have done, ladies and gentlemen, is we've created a career report that is based on the habits of an individual. And in the Shadowmatch research team, we are convinced that our habits are the most reliable predictor of our behavior, because it is patterns embedded in the brain and we follow those patterns. So habits are a very strong predictor of behavior. And if a career doesn't fit with our embedded habits, we are in distress, we experience difficulties to stay in the job, and we become frustrated to such a point that eventually we just give up on the job and we say, I can't do this anymore. So the career report, what we will do now is we're going to work through the career report, and I will show you, and you must make notes as I go through it, because it's as our team decided, it's a power hour. It won't be a waste of time and discussions for the fun of it. So I'm going to use my report. I've generated my report. Now, a few introduction comments before we share the report, and you must follow your report as I go through mine. The first thing is the report is age specific. So young people get a different report to mid-career people, the 25 to 35 years old. The people above 35 get a different report compared to the younger people. The structure of the report is exactly the same, but the detail is different. The detail is seriously different, and there are quite radical differences, but it sits in the detail, not in the structure of the report. So what I will do now is I will share my screen with you. And as I share my screen, I hope that I get the right screen up and share, because sometimes you share the screen and your emails come up. And then it might be a bit of a challenge. So I'm going to my Shadowmatch Career portal, and I will then work through my career report with you. I just want to see if somebody can show me, can you see on your screen now, Shadowmatch Career Advisor Report, name Peter de Villiers? Yes, good. That's excellent, thanks. Now, guys and girls, what we will do now is we're going to fly through the report. The report is extremely comprehensive and very detailed. I will play a few videos with you and for you, and we will then discuss the videos. And there are some very important content that is embedded in the videos. So we must, when we work through the report, we must read the detail of the report and we must watch the videos. What we have done is we have made the videos complementary to the content of the report, the reading content, and the reading content then expands on the information that is presented by the videos. So the reading content makes the videos rich, and the videos make the reading content rich. On a piece of paper that you have with you and a pen, what you must do is write down at the top my summary and my job list. In other words, I want you to create, as we work through the report, and I will show you when we are done, because I'm going to do it with you, and after the session, one of our team will send you my summary so that you see the mess that I make to get to a conclusion. And if you make the same, just come to a conclusion. It'll work. It's very easy. So what we do, ladies and gentlemen, right throughout the report, we have a difference between recommendations and examples. The recommendations are those components or constructs that will be important for your career. They are always the principles related to your behavior. The examples are not recommendations. If the report says, for instance, a good example of this is to become an engineer, that's not a recommendation. It's an example. It is there to help you think about other possible jobs and careers and study directions and directives to take. It's not a recommendation. So let's have a look at the video first. The introduction is complete. It's nice to read. It gives you a good idea how to read the report. But what I want to share with you is this 1-minute video. Let's quickly have a look at it. We open it, we click on it, and we play it, and let's have a listen.
It is important to make a mental note of the following. Your report contains recommendations as well as examples of careers and jobs. The recommendations in your report are clearly introduced as recommendations, preferences, or directives. These recommendations must guide your future career decision. Then there are work and study examples, engineering, teaching, software programming, architecture, and many more. These are example jobs to help you think of possible careers that are in line with each recommendation. Remember, this could be one of the most important reports you will ever read. Make the best of it.
Good. That's it. That's the end of the video content. The rest is just to tell you that it's a Shadowmatch video. So this is important, ladies and gentlemen, because the recommendations are it's like a roadmap where you must be cautious of this one side and go for the other side. And we will continuously work with this. Go for this. Be aware of this might be a frustration. And the first thing, the first big component in the video, in the report, ladies and gentlemen, is the reality of the future of work and the fourth industrial revolution that we are currently in. Let me emphasize, the fourth industrial revolution will create more jobs than what it will destroy. All the statistics show it. But the jobs will be different. It might be new. It might need some training, additional training. It might need an additional expansion of our possibilities. But if we have a plan, we can deal with this very easily. The one-line sentence about the fourth industrial revolution is, it's a revolution that wants to automate jobs and workplaces so that it's less people dependent and more people smart. In other words, the technology will need people to function optimally, but some technology capabilities will function independent of people, but obviously there must be people to fix it, to put it in place, to make it work, to design it, and to expand the capabilities of these technologies. Now, in the future of work, in the fourth industrial revolution workplace, ladies and gentlemen, there will be 4 big workspaces. I will go through them now, and we will go through the video, and then I will do a 1 or 2 minute talk about them. Let's watch the video quickly. Here we go.
The fourth industrial revolution is here. It's about connected and intelligent computer systems that will control robots to do what humans have done previously. Let me show you an example. A team of system designers will design self-driving cars, and robots will build the cars. Once the cars are on the road, technical enablers will look after them, configure them, service and repair them. Lawyers will write the laws to regulate how the cars are used. Police officers will catch criminals who steal self-driving cars. The lawyers and police officers are functional enablers. A fourth group of careers will be the artists who design the interior of the car. Study the details of your Shadowmatch Career Report to up the car. Study the details of your Shadowmatch Career Report to optimize your future career.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's stop the video.
A fourth group of careers will be the artists who design the
these 4 categories, ladies and gentlemen, are the workspaces of the future. I want to talk about all 4 of these just in a minute. These people that work as designers, they will design the factory of the future. They will design the medical equipment of the future. They will design the computers of the future, the software of the future that will manage the movement of cars on our road, to manage traffic. They will design the system. So these people at the design level are those individuals who can work with data, with a strong mathematical ability, people that are specialists in their field of training and expertise, people that could work as programmers, software designers, software engineers. This is the space where the designers will sit, and they will build systems that will either help us and make our lives easier, or that will replace people with technology. Say, for instance, working in a dangerous mine, or working in a highly poisonous building, or in a fire. These people will design the equipment that could work under those harsh conditions so that people do not have to lose their lives working in those conditions. The second group, just remember about the designers, ladies and gentlemen. They are the ones that will design and create the frameworks and the parameters and the algorithms of how these things work. Then the second group of people will be those individuals who will make the technology work. So they will install the technology. They will bring the technology to life. They will install the medical equipment in the hospital. The medical equipment designed by the designers will be installed by the technical enablers. They will make the self-driving cars functional. They will repair them. They will, in other words, they will engage the technology to make it work in the society and in the business place where we live and work. For instance, managing an automated manufacturing plant. Those are technical enablers. So these people work with technology. They work with physical stuff. They work with hardware. They work with how these technologies must function in the places where we manufacture, do business, or live our lives. The third group, ladies and gentlemen, and this is where I sit. I fit in this group. My habits are most suitable for this group of functional enablers. These are people working in a space where technology cannot do the job. Either the complexities of the job are too high, or the technology has not been developed for the space that they work in, or the human side of the work is so intense that technology can't do it. It might be the demand on innovation, the demand on creative discussions, the demand on a soft and a personal approach to the job, but also the demand on hard and physical work that needs a human body to engage the task. Police officers, lawyers, nurses, all these jobs could sit in the space of a functional enabler where technology is thin and where technology has not yet been deployed or will not ever be deployed to do the job. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the artists. This is a bigger career than what we anticipated to be. These people work in the artistic, creative space of our world. They are the ones that will design the look and feel of a hospital, of an office, of a garden, of an aeroplane, an airfield, or wherever public spaces need to be designed. They are the ones that will do the artwork for marketing, for communication. They are the ones to do the artwork in terms of training material where visuals are necessary. This video has been made by an artist. She must understand the business. She must understand how the video will best communicate the message. So the work of the artist is not reduced to somebody taking a pen and drawing pictures of faces. It's a very broad and a very advanced career in Industry 4. The architects and all these people sit in the space of artistic work. We can even go as far, ladies and gentlemen, to put some of the storytellers and authors in the space of artwork, because storytelling and writing a novel is a form of art. So it's a very broad approach that we have here in terms of the artistic world of a career going into the future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what the report does, it says to me as Peter de Villiers, there in that second last paragraph, your specific Industry 4 position is a strong directive to work in the functional enablers space where intelligent systems cannot do the work because of the complexities related to the task. Your career must take you to places where people are still doing the job. The reason why people are doing the work could be anything: complexities, physical demands, innovation, and uniqueness of the work. And the unique of the work might make it human dependent. This is where you should focus your career. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that I need to make on my summary, and I will show you my summary when we are done, is I need to write down the word functional enablers is the first goal that I must work towards as a future career, and I must prepare myself now to become a functional enabler in the world of work. So this, ladies and gentlemen, the content of your report is quite clear on this. It gives a lot of information around what it means to be in that space. There's also a bit of a description of the careers in the world of Industry 4. So just be very positive about this, ladies and gentlemen. Industry 4 is not a threat, it's an opportunity. The world of Industry 4 is not a threat, it's an opportunity. But to make use of that opportunity and to benefit from that opportunity, guys and girls, you must have a plan. The saying that I want to embed in our drive to help people is you must have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you are being strangled in the complexities of this world without a plan. Now the next big chapter in your report, ladies and gentlemen, is about the broad focus of your career. Whatever we do, whatever career we are in, ladies and gentlemen, and you can try this out on any career and any job. We either work with people, or we work with objects and tasks, or we work with ideas. And remember, the fact that we work with people, that doesn't mean that it's an idea-free job. But it's being dominated by engaging the person or the individual or the people around that I'm working with. If I'm a manager of a project team, as an engineering project manager, I engage people. There's a lot of thinking and there's a lot of ideas that are related to my job. But my primary function is I engage my team, and I must be sensitive for the complexities of the people that I engage. But if I work as a technician in the workshop of a plant where we repair advanced machinery, and I work as a single individual on a specific part of the machinery, I don't engage people. I engage things. I engage objects. I engage metal and oil and wood and steel and electricity. Those things don't bleed. They don't have emotional compromising conditions. They don't get worried about their children that are at home. They don't get worried about the rent not being paid at the end of the month. If I work with a machine, those machines don't talk back. They don't say to me, Peter, can we talk after this meeting? I have a problem. You know what? It's my children are at home and I've got nobody to take care of them. I don't deal with it. It's a machine. If I don't like what the machine does, I switch it off and I walk away. I have coffee. I don't talk to the machine. So it's a completely different environment, ladies and gentlemen. But if I work with ideas, this is a completely different situation. When I work with ideas, I can actually work for the full day without moving. I can do, for somebody looking from the outside, they could easily say, Peter has done absolutely nothing for the day. Because I sat and I was thinking, because I had to think around a specific problem, and the only way to get around it is I must think about this thing. I don't have to act. For instance, let me give you an example. If you write a book, whether it's a novel or whether it's an academic reference work, or whether it's a description of something, the thinking that must go into this is the biggest component of the job. So we engage our world of work only on 3 prime engagements. We are either heavy on the people engagement, or we are heavy on the task and object engagement. In other words, we work with things, or we are heavy on the ideas and the thinking component. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is embedded in our habits. Our habits have a fabulous way of presenting these 3 dominant areas that our habits are most aligned with and that we can rely on. I'm not going this round to show the video. The video is in your report, and watch the video. I'm not going to do it now because we've discussed it. I just want to show you my preference. Yours will probably be different, or it might be the same. My preference is ideas-related careers must be the focus of your future choice. The work must be about ideas and concepts that need to be applied to get the desired outcome. A few examples. Listen to the wording, ladies and gentlemen. The recommendation has been done. The recommendation is your work must be focused on ideas. That's the recommendation. What follows now at the end of that line, a few examples. These are not recommendations. These are trigger points to help you think about possible jobs and possible work directives that could fulfill the recommendation. So let's have a look at the examples. This will help you think about your best choice: design engineers, architects, writers, journalists, researchers, and marketers. What I then did, ladies and gentlemen, I thought about this report for myself, and I thought that an advisory role could be added to that list. Any advisory role could be added to this list. And then I sat back and I said to myself, but what kind of advisory? Because I will show you now, my preference is not to work with people. So my advisory role, because giving advice or an advisory position is very much dependent on ideas and thinking. So my advisory position should not engage people. It should rather engage advice about things. So let me show you my position. So there's a bit of thinking for everybody to do, ladies and gentlemen, but remember, you are the perfect person to think about your own advice. So I want to show you my position. Have a look at what comes out on the screen now. This is my position. Everybody's position will be different. Now I want to show you, ladies and gentlemen, the green arrow there, the green spike, represents the intensity from low to high of how people should be part of my career. The green one that sits almost in the middle is it relates to how tasks and objects should fill the workspace and engagement content of my career. And then this one, I don't know what this color is. Please don't tell me. I think let's call it light blue. I think that's the closest that I will probably get. This represents to what level must ideas fill the content of my career. I want you to have a look at this graph the way you look at a fuel gauge or a gasoline gauge in a car. If this gauge, ladies and gentlemen, on one of these things are on the full side, it says that this car has got a lot of gasoline or fuel or petrol to go a long way on the topic that is being presented by the spike or the graph indicator or the needle on the fuller side. Let's say all three of these are on this side of the graph. It says that your work should not be of a high and a radical intensity when working, say, with people. Let's say, for instance, all three of these indicators were to the left of this graph. It would say that, Peter, if you work with ideas, that is the dominant part of your career, those ideas must not be intense, and it must not be radical, and it must not push the boundaries of your ability to work with ideas. So you must work with ideas, but the ideas should be soft. It should be easy to engage, easy to work with, easy to work through your mind, and to filter into your workspace. So it shows the intensity and the preference that I have. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for my career plan, this is an important point. I need to now write down that I need to engage ideas and tasks, and people should be on the minimum side of my career plan. So, and the examples here will help me think. I have added to this list the example of a career in the world of advisory work, but related to things and tasks and objects, not related directly to people. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we have two other chapters coming up. The stable and dynamic content of your career. This is quite important for me to decide on a future career, because some careers, ladies and gentlemen, are by nature stable. If I am a financial administrator in a company, the job defines the stability or the dynamic characteristics of the job. So if I'm a financial administrator in a company, I can actually predict what I will be doing on the 3rd of July. I will reconcile invoices with payments. I can predict what I will do on the 15th of July. I will start sending out invoices. On the 27th of July, I will start sending out statements. Or I will prepare financials for the senior management or for the board. So it's a very predictable and a very stable job and a workplace. But ladies and gentlemen, if I'm qualified as a rescue pilot and I need to fly out in the most dangerous conditions to save the lives of people in distress, and I don't know what tomorrow will bring. In fact, I do not know how to get back to base when I have landed and I've picked up the person in distress. I might not know how to get back to base. That job in itself is an extremely dynamic job because it's unpredictable. It's volatile. It's on the edge of the situation of not knowing what the next step will be. So let me show you my position. There are a few examples, ladies and gentlemen, but in my instance, lecturing, I've done lecturing. It's a bit too stable for me. Business development, I've done this. It's also a bit too stable. I would like to be a lawyer and fight for my customers in court, but let me show you my position. My position, ladies and gentlemen, is I am just above the middle point or the balance point between stable and dynamic. This is important. If I want to find my optimal career, I need to be on the lookout for something that gives me a soft level of unpredictable future, something that I'm not very sure how to do this. Something, but it mustn't be radical. Once this graph runs into that space, ladies and gentlemen, it says that you must look out for a job with a high intensity of change, challenges, unpredictabilities, etc., etc. If it runs on the other side to say below this third notch there into this area, it says that you must be on the lookout and you must steer your workplace and into a space where things are stable, predictable, it repeats itself. It's more of a reliable work content than on the other side. There are some examples on your list, ladies and gentlemen, and the content of this explains everything in detail. Make a note and put on your note, on your job list, some of the jobs that might trigger your attention, some that you might be thinking of that is not on the list. And then obviously, if this suddenly makes it necessary for you to scrap some of the jobs on the list, scrap it. You'll see on my summary sheet how I have scrapped our jobs that won't work for me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next chapter on our report is about the practical or the theoretical aspects and content of our work. The video is very, very clear on this, ladies and gentlemen, and I think the video will actually help us to understand this in a very short and abbreviated, but in a very clear way. Let's have a look at it. We skipped one video, let's look at this one.
All careers are either more practical than theoretical or more theoretical than practical. Let me show you an example. The practical civil engineer wants to work where the physical work is done and prefers to actively participate in the building activities. The theoretical engineer wants to design how and what needs to be done. The third engineer has a practical as well as a theoretical preference by checking that the physical building is exactly according to the design. These preferences are related to their habits. Your preference is in your report. Shadowmatch wants you to build a career for life.
Good. There's my preference, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just highlight my preference for you. The preference is very, very specific. Your career of choice, Mr. de Villiers, will be theoretical and very conceptual, with abstract ideas that must be integrated to reach a desired outcome. It will be a career in the thinking type of work with advanced challenges on your ability to apply your mind to problems. Obviously, the rest of this paragraphs, ladies and gentlemen, will expand on this idea, but it will also give me a few examples. The work must be filled with ideas, planning, research, and coordinating abstract concepts towards a meaningful result. This is the type of work lawyers, lawyers come up again, investigative journalists, industrial engineers, software developers, forensic crime investigators, psychologists, but I'm low on people, ladies and gentlemen. You will remember that on the above list, I'm low on people, so psychologists will be a bit of a stretch for me, and lecturers and social workers. Social workers, too much people intense, so that might also not be optimal for me. What is my position, ladies and gentlemen? My position is, remember, it's theoretical, but it's not extreme theoretical. So the balance points, this is the first two notches there, ladies and gentlemen, is extremely practical, very practical, dominant practical. The middle section here is try to find a balance with a slight emphasis on the theoretical side. Those are very strong and very intense theoretical. So the middle two those two spaces around the middle three notches are try to find a balance, but with an emphasis for me on the more theoretical side of a career. Now what I can do, ladies and gentlemen, I can now make another tick behind advisory service, design work, writing, research. So things become clear for me. The world of design, writing, advisory service, and textbook writing becomes something that starts to filter out in my mind as I work through these positions that I take. Second last on our chapter list, ladies and gentlemen, is the complexity index of your career. Read this with great attention. The reason is, ladies and gentlemen, we need a starting point. Remember that conceptual fitness and being in a position to work with complex and complexities and advanced integral content is in a very few cases, very few, it's an ability. We all have advanced abilities to work with conceptually complicated content. It all depends on what kind of content it must be. But what we must say, ladies and gentlemen, if my conceptual fitness is very high, as a result of me working with complicated problems every day, then I shouldn't start my career with entry-level complexities. Let me give you an example. If I have an industrial engineering degree, because industrial engineers, it's a degree in maths. That's all it is. It's industrial engineering is a degree in mathematics. So I qualify from university as an industrial engineer, and now somebody make me a teacher of primary school children to teach them mathematics. It won't work for me, because my fitness to work with advanced mathematical equations will be frustrated. But ladies and gentlemen, if you take somebody from a high school and you put that individual into an engineering job where highly sophisticated advanced mathematical knowledge and capabilities and fitness is necessary, the individual will be stretched beyond his fitness level. So the video, ladies and gentlemen, is very clear on this, and it's complete. Now, I must give you just a hint on my position, ladies and gentlemen. I think my position here is a bit inflated. You must remember I designed the worksheet, so it'll be a bit of a come down if I can't solve the problems that I have created myself. So my position is very high, but remember now, I've created the worksheet, so I must be able to answer all those 10 questions. But this is not about ability. This is the most important thing that I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is if this spike sits on the low side, it says you need a job, to start a job that is easy for you to understand, easy for you to process in terms of your conceptual processing fitness level, and from there on build progressively to learn more and to grow in that job. And you will see that the report is very precise, and it's very well designed and well written around this. So read your report. I just want to read mine, and this is just to show you how exact it is. You must carefully consider a future career. Your future career. A career with limited challenges in terms of complexities and problems that must be resolved will frustrate you. You must think about a career that will seriously challenge your mind and test your abilities to solve problems. It's a very specific recommendation, ladies and gentlemen. And then obviously there are examples. Here with a list of examples to help you. There are the examples. Engineering, architecture, finance, bond trading, complex algorithm-based software development, information engineering, actuarial science, journalism, and academic writing. Something caught my mind, academic writing. It keeps on popping up in my mind. Writing content for other people to help them understand or work with complexities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the last portion of our report, and that is the career tips. As a group, ladies and gentlemen, these career tips are as important as all the other headings in the report. Please don't think that these tips are of less importance because we label them tips. It's just because we have a list of these things and we've put them in place in a very short and a very direct manner. But these tips are, you must see them as borders and as engagement recommendations. And I will show you. You will see that in the most instances, in the most reports, ladies and gentlemen, there are about 7 or 8. It could be more, but I must work with a career that allows me to simplify things and to make it easier to understand and to work with it. So that's the first one. So simplify work content. I must work with problems. I must work in an environment where immediacy and speed is part of the job and part of the deliverables. So the working environment must allow me to act quickly. I must work in an environment where taking control of the outcome is part of the job. So I must be in a position to take control of what I am responsible and accountable for. I must be in a workplace where it stretches me to take a firm position and to stand my ground. So let's just read this one. Your optimal career should hold some risk elements. It will energize you and you will experience high levels of fulfillment if your career has a risk-taking side to the work and you will be doing. There it sits. So it's a positive recommendation. But then, ladies and gentlemen, there are some warnings. These are warnings. And if you read your report, read carefully. Some of these career tips are motivators. So in other words, go for this. Some of these career tips are warnings. It says, Peter, careful. Careful when working with people, Peter, with people that are different. Conflict is part of the working environment where people work together. There will always be a risk of conflict. Some conflict situations are positive and some are challenging. Certain jobs are more conflict intense than others. It will not work for you. There it says. A workplace saturated with people who are always on an opposing side to me. So immediately a lawyer is out of the equation for me. So I must go back to my list, take lawyer off the list and say, this won't work. It's too conflict driven. Caring for people, taking care of people in need. This, ladies and gentlemen, if you decide, there's the caution, there's the sentence of caution, I will highlight it for you. If you decide on a career in a people-related working environment, make sure it is not saturated with helping people in need. I mustn't do that. My habits will not allow me to do this. And then the last one, working with people, and we've seen it on the graph right at the top, ladies and gentlemen, where we have the broad focus of my career. We've seen it here, that the people side of the job, the red one, should be on the lowest side of my broad focus. And here the report says very clearly, working with people, don't work intensely with people. Do your best to choose a career where working with people does not dominate the work content. Your career must let you work with people without too much involvement and too much closeness and attachment. So I can work with people, but it mustn't be a close attached work situation. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I've made my summary, and I'm going to give you the final things. There's what now? What are the next steps? It's very easy. Watch your video. There's a video in terms of what do we want you to do now. The one thing that we want you to do is create a summary of your report. I'm going to stop share, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to show you something. I've made a summary of my career report. This is what it looks like. So it's a bit of a mess, but I've scanned it and I will email it to you. And you will see that at the end here, I will show you there, at the end there, I have in green made my final notes. So what I did, ladies and gentlemen, is I worked through my report, and as the report triggered possible careers, I worked through them. And it came out, ladies and gentlemen, that the final points are, I need to be in a design job, I need to write, and I need to play an advisory role that are more things-based than people-based. That's it. That is what came out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we can do is we can test this career, because after in 2 or 3 days, some of you might have already received your Test My Career capability. You will receive it soon. I can now test my career. And what I've done, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share my screen again with you for a moment. What I've done is I have tested. So there's the test your career functionality. It'll be sent to you within the next 48 hours. And I want to share something personal to you. I've been a minister of religion in the Dutch Reformed Church in South Africa for 12 years. I've studied 7 years at university full time. And it wasn't because I failed or played golf, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. You study 7 years to become a minister. And I've been a minister for 12 years. And I couldn't sustain it because the intensity of that career on people was just too high. I couldn't see it out. I couldn't stay any longer because the demand on me in terms of working in a very close relationship with people was just too high. I couldn't do it. So what I did is just to show you what happened, ladies and gentlemen. I tested Minister of Religion as a possible career for me. It came out that my success rate will be 24%, or there's a 24% match between my habits and the job, the career demands of a Minister of Religion. And what happened, I failed it, and I couldn't sustain it. I left. So what now, ladies and gentlemen, you will get your career test. It sits on your Shadowmatch dashboard. Obviously, you will see now. Let me quickly show you. Your career advisory report sits on your portal there, and there test possible careers. If you click on this, ladies and gentlemen, you'll get access to the questions to test your career. There it sits, test a new career. Now what you do is you say, I want to become a medical doctor or a pilot. Let me take a pilot. And then I answer these questions. But now, ladies and gentlemen, you must be careful. You must do a little bit of research to understand the world of pilots, because if you don't do that, you might not be able to answer these questions with the right information. So this is a tip. Google the words "a day in the life of a pilot" and then watch those videos. There are hundreds for every career, ladies and gentlemen. There are hundreds of these videos. Watch a few of these videos before you start using this questionnaire, because first, the questionnaire is specific to your habits. These questions are only for me. I cannot use it for somebody else. It's only for me. The second thing, ladies and gentlemen, is the questions. I must be quite well informed about the world of life or a day in the life of a pilot, but be specific. Let's say, for instance, you decided that becoming a lawyer might be high on your list. Then, ladies and gentlemen, Google "a day in the life of a lawyer in a court," "a day in the life of a lawyer in working with a customer," "a day in the life of a lawyer," whatever it might be. So be very specific, and then complete the questionnaire and make sure that you answer the questions to the best of your abilities. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out and done. Thank you very much for your time. It was nice to spend the time with you. The Shadowmatch team will stay online for a few moments if you have verbal questions that you need to answer. And over to Suzanne for a final comment. Thank you very much. I enjoyed spending the time with you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much for everybody joining in. You're more than welcome to stay on if you have questions you would like us to answer. And then we hope to see you on the 11th of June in the webinar about Industry 4.0. We'll send through the communication. Have a good day or good evening if you're in that timeline. Thank you. Okay, cool.